Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Kwon Alexander III calls out the Steelers offense for being too reliant upon the defense in the past few seasons. So, Kwon Alexander, he says exactly what we've all been thinking from us watching the games. We see the Steelers offense rely too much on their defense and rely on them to get stops, but they have to rely upon themselves to actually score points. And that's what Kwon Alexander says to the media. But first, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like the video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, one of the few things with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense the last few seasons is they just haven't been able to score that many points. And when you aren't able to score many points, it becomes harder to win football games. Yes, the Steelers have still won football games, but it's because of their defense, not their offense. And Kwon Alexander said the exact same thing. Here's his quote on the topic. He went on the Ed Block Courage cast where he discussed how badly the Steelers need to improve their offense. Here's his quote. I feel like a lot of times when we look at the Steelers, it's all about relying on our defense. And we have a top-notch defense, of course. But we gotta be the ones. We can't always be like, okay, the defense did this. The defense needs to. If they would have stopped them one more time, no, the offense. We need to be the ones that the team can count on, that can score those points. For us, I know if we get the offense and defense together, then you can really start being serious about making a run at things. End quote. So, he put it perfectly. Not only did he basically just call out the offense being like, hey, we need to be better. He didn't call them out in a bad way. If anything, this is motivation for the Steelers because it's true. Everything that he said in that statement was true. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been good. Excellent. That's what led the Steelers to win many football games. But if they could get the offense and defense clicking at the same time, that's always been the thing with the Steelers. It's either one group plays well. You look at the Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell era, and even in the Jacksonville Jaguar era, basically up to that point, it was all about scoring points, and their defense couldn't get a stop to save the team. So, it's been the offense that was good back then. But then you look at the defense, the last few seasons with this team, it's the defense that's carrying, letting no offense score more than like 17 points for like most of the season, the second half of the season last year. So you see that, and it's either the offense plays good or the defense plays good. For like the last decade, it hasn't been both of them clicking at the same time. And Kwon Alexander's statement is true, because if one plays well and the other doesn't play well, that usually doesn't work out. And we can see that. Usually the Super Bowl teams, the offense and the defense both clicking at the same time, and they get going and they help each other and they play off of each other. At this point in day and age, it's not just one part of the offense or defense that's just going to carry you to a championship. And Kwon Alexander knows that, and he's giving a little motivation saying, hey, we have a great defense right now. We're basically bringing back all the players, or close to it, and upgrading all the players in certain positions from last year's defense that was really good. And we have a good offense right now, hopefully, that could be even better, and we need to put points up on the board. We look at the Steelers defense. I'm going to go over this. I already went over this many times. But you look at last season, looking at the points scored late in last season. Let me just go through them really quickly. Some of the games that the Steelers won, for example, they held the Ravens in their first median to 10 points and barely won that game. It was a struggle. And then they held the Rams to 17. They also held Jacksonville to 20, and they lost that game. You held the Titans to 16, and that was a struggle as well. You held the Packers to 19. That game was a struggle to win. You held the Browns to 13 points and lost the game. You held the Bengals to 10 and barely won the game. And why am I going through this? Well, you look at the Steelers and the games that they won. It's not like the Steelers win and blow games. All their games have been close recently, and that is because of their offense not being good and not being able to score points. And their defense. If their defense lets up one more touchdown in any of those games in which the teams are held to 13 or less points, the Steelers would lose that game. So it's really reliant upon the defense. And that's what the Steelers were doing. The Steelers need the defense to force punts, force turnovers, or the Steelers just have no chance of winning the last few seasons under Matt Canada. So hopefully now stuff changes, and hopefully the new offense in Arthur Smith is able to bring that new level of scoring points back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another thing that Calvin Austin said on the podcast to the media that he went on is basically taking a shot at Matt Canada. He said his very first play in the NFL was a jet sweep. And when he took that jet sweep, it was against the 49ers. And he said he felt as though the 49ers knew exactly what plays the Steelers were running. And when he got that football, the safety started blitzing down before he even got it. Fred Warner started blitzing down before he even got the football, and he said it felt like he was running for his life. And that really changed his perspective about the NFL. And if it felt like that, then it would be tough moving forward. That's what he said he felt on his very first snap, very first touch in the NFL. So you look at that, and basically that's been the theme of the Steelers when talking about the offense. Predictable, that the defense knows what they're running. Many people have come out and said it. So hopefully now stuff changes and the Steelers offense isn't that way anymore. The thing with the Steelers offense too, it's not like they don't have a good offense. It's really just been the play calling and the stuff that they don't know how to run. Because you look at the Steelers offense, even last season, I know their wide receiver group isn't as good as last season, but you look at their wide receivers right now, they still have George Pickens, they had Deontay Johnson last year, they have Pat Freiermuth, they have a blocking tight end in Darnell Washington, they have a speedster in Calvin Austin, they have many other weapons as well. They have one of the best offense lines right now in terms of hopefully being redone and rebuilt. They already had James Daniels last season. They had Isaac Seumalo, who left 0 sacks for the last 3 years or something like that. So you had Broderick Jones as one of the best tackles, rookie tackles in the NFL. So it's not like you didn't have a good offense. You really had a good offense. And even if we're going further back, you still had Big Ben as your quarterback. I know the quarterback matters and stuff like that because of Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. They couldn't really find their guy, and then Mason Rudolph ended up being the guy. But the offensive play calling just wasn't great. You have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren too. I didn't even mention them. You have the two best, basically the best dual running back in the NFL, arguably. So you have weapons on this offense, and you just have to be able to utilize them. And the Steelers just haven't been able to do that. You look at Arthur Smith, what he was able to do with the Tennessee Titans when he was the offense coordinator there. It was either one of the two. It's either they had the best running offense in the NFL, or the most scored points in the NFL. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. It was one of the two. So hopefully he's able to do the same with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all know that he was able to allow Derrick Henry to have a scheme in which he was allowed to go over 2,000 yards. So hopefully he's able to bring that to Pittsburgh and be a strong play caller with the Steelers. Obviously, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, Art Roney, they love what he would bring to the table. That's why they got him. So hopefully he proves them right and he's able to show what he showed in Tennessee and not what he showed in Atlanta. Because what he showed in Atlanta was not great. So hopefully he's able to bring what he called in Tennessee over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They basically rebuilt the whole offense line. The wide receivers group is kind of redone too, bringing in some new players. And they have a new quarterback as well. So it's basically a new team on offense, along with some of the players remaining from the team from last season. Obviously, like George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and some of the offense line too. But it's a new offense. It's the same offense. Hopefully, they're able to be better. And hopefully, Calvin Austin's statement is true. Both offense and defense could click on the same time, and then they could really make a run at things. Because if it's not, then they can't make a run at things. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic, on Calvin Austin calling out the offense, saying we need to play better. You can't rely on the defense. Just think about this. The defense, they have to allow no more than 17 points per game because the Steelers can't score, or their average was 16. So the Steelers defense has to not allow more than 17 points in this day and age in the NFL. And you know how hard that is? If they allow over 17, they know they lose a game. If they allow under 17, they have a chance at winning. A chance. That's really hard. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this topic. Calvin Austin calling the offense needs to be better, giving them motivation? And do you think the Steelers offense will be better this season compared to last? Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. I've covered all this offseason, everything from trades, from free agency, draft, all the new players. I've covered it all. I'll continue covering it all into training camp with highlights and analysis, and continue covering the preseason, regular season, everything like that. So turn notifications to this channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.